Hawaii, the USA's 50th state, a Polynesian playground, a tropical tourist paradise. Here's another Hawaii, a country that was overthrown, a people that never consented, a native population facing desperate poverty, and a movement for independence on the rise. From the island of Maui in Hawaii, I'm Avi Lewis, and this is Inside USA. All along its busy waterfront, Honolulu is hard at work, spreading the spirit of aloha among all the tourists in the state where Barack Obama famously grew up. But there's another Hawaii, one you rarely see on TV, a place in which native Hawaiians are not just window dressing for tourism, but are in fact a ravaged people, facing poverty, homelessness, and a health catastrophe. In the 19th century, Hawaii was a proud and independent kingdom, part of the family of nations, until one day in 1893 when U.S. Marines came ashore. The government was illegally overthrown, and the country was eventually annexed without the consent of its people. And that, by the way, is the official version of history according to the U.S. government itself. Today, Hawaii is one of the most militarized places on Earth, more than 150 military installations and tens of thousands of troops. But there's something else here too, a movement for Hawaiian self-determination. Already more than 200 years old, today it is surging. On this week's Inside Focus, we take a look at the other Hawaii, at the impact of the military, at the true cost of tourism, and at the people who are fighting to take back what they call stolen land. If you're a visitor, like 7 million other tourists every year, this Hawaii is easy to find. In fact, it's hard to avoid. Many never leave the sparkling beaches and famous surf breaks of Waikiki. But just 30 kilometers away, life is not so soft. This is Waianae, an area with an average income of only $13,000 a year. Nearly 1 in 5 here live at or below the poverty line, and the beach looks like a refugee camp.
We're homeless. We're just homeless, the lowest of low, We're the drug users, the drug dealers, the troublemakers and everything, I guess we're so bad because we don't have walls.
It's early morning, and Annie Powell is looking for food.
When the fish bites, you'll know, because that top's gonna go big name.
Like most of the people living on this beach, Annie is descended from Hawaii's original inhabitants. Hers is a legacy of poverty and loss, but also an enduring connection to the land.
And so instead of going to school, parents brought them out here, taught them how to lay net, how to dive, for their food, because that's what's gonna count, is food on your table. And if you can't get it through money, then you're gonna have to get it your own.
For most native Hawaiians, centuries of colonialism have had an all too familiar effect.
Native Hawaiians are the lowest in terms of educational achievement. We don't have the kind of wealth that other groups in Hawaii would have. We suffer from debilitating illnesses more than other ethnic groups.
They cannot afford the rents or definitely can't afford to buy homes because of this real estate speculative economy. I can barely afford a place to live, and I'm a tenured professor.
Land costs in Hawaii are 5 times the national average, and median rents the highest in the U.S. Predictably, homelessness has doubled in a decade. At the same time, Hawaii's tourist economy is faltering. 2 airlines have gone out of business in the last year, and the number of visitors has dropped significantly. While high gas prices and recession are obviously responsible, the people at the bottom of the economic ladder are often blamed.
We are being scapegoats for everything. The economy may be hurting because the tourist is not coming here. But our economy here is killing their own people. It's killing the Hawaiians, the people, the homeless. It's killing all of us.
Clearly embarrassed by the sight of tent cities on its beaches, the city of Honolulu has launched a plan to move the homeless population into shelters. Later this month, authorities will sweep Annie and the rest of this community off the beach for good.
There's going to be a systematic cleansing of Hawaiians off of the beaches. And where are they going to go? There's no backup plan.
Can't live here, can't live here, can't live on this beach, can't live on that beach. Then where the hell do we go?
The dispossession of native Hawaiians didn't begin in the most recent real estate boom. In fact, Hawaii was America's first experiment with regime change. It's a story most tourists will never hear. In 1893, Hawaii had a constitutional monarchy, 80 embassies around the world, and 5 friendly treaties with the U.S. Then came the overthrow, led by a group of U.S. sugar magnates, security provided by U.S. Marines in the streets of Honolulu. Queen Liliuokalani was locked in her palace. The legislature was dismissed, the Hawaiian language banned from schools. Twice in the next 5 years, the U.S. tried to pass a treaty of annexation, but the move met with fierce resistance.
I'd say about 90% of the Native Hawaiian population signed a petition protesting the coming annexation of Hawaii to the United States. That's something that most Americans have no knowledge of.
And in fact, that's a supposedly an American ideal. If you read the Constitution, the idea that we the people, we provide consent to the government. Well, if you look within our own history, it's very clear. Our people have never provided consent. In fact, it's very clear that we've actually opposed it.
In the end, Hawaii was annexed in the fog of war, the Spanish-American War of 1898, with U.S. troops on their way to fight in the Philippines. And even then, it was a mere resolution in Congress, not a formal treaty, that brought Hawaii under official U.S. control.
So you might say Hawaii in 1898 was kidnapped during the Spanish-American War in order to fight the Spanish in Guam and the Philippines, but it was treated like it was adopted. The problem is we can't find any adoption papers. Hawaii's still kidnapped, and we call that occupation in international law.
It sounds like a radical theory, the idea that Hawaii's beaches, mountains, and all its natural wealth are actually under illegal occupation. But in 1993, President Bill Clinton signed a unique law known as the Apology Bill, admitting that the overthrow was illegal and that 1.8 million acres of land were taken without consent or compensation. To some legal scholars, that makes Hawaiian sovereignty an open and shut case. But to many, the Apology Bill is just empty words.
The Apology Bill gives us a piece of paper where the president said, "We're sorry we overthrew your land and took it away and locked your queen up. We apologize for that." But
that isn't what we were fighting for. We were fighting for the 2 million acres of land that they took, the re-legalization of our language, and we said that. I said it, and a number of other Hawaiians said, look, we didn't ask for an apology. You didn't take an apology, so we don't want an apology back. The real thing is the land, as it is for all Native people.
Here on Oahu, the most populous of Hawaii's islands, the question of land cannot be separated from the question of the U.S. military, which controls almost 1/4 of the island.
Hawaii actually houses the headquarters for the largest unified military command in the world, Pacific Command.
You look at the Pacific area that we're responsible for, and it's over about half the world's surface. And Hawaii is in the middle of it.
Since the Marines landed more than a century ago, Hawaii has seen an ever-growing presence of U.S. troops. 100,000 military personnel have retired to Hawaii, including families almost 1 in 5 residents is connected to the military. Hawaii is home to every branch of the armed forces, which combine for more than 16 million rounds of live-fire ammunition training every year. And there's a dizzying array of surveillance technology, from satellite tracking stations to spy telescopes and supercomputers, all perched in the picturesque landscape that is Hawaii.
We probably have as much nuclear weaponry here as any other places on Earth. So when you talk about the idea of weapons of mass destruction, you see, we know they're here.
These things have been leaking into our ocean for the past 50 years. The military has known this, and they never told anybody, so people have been fishing there and eating the fish that have been contaminated with nerve gas and other chemical agents.
A massive military presence in Hawaii over decades has left a legacy of environmental damage, right?
it has had some impact on the land, absolutely. And that through our programs that we are always trying to be a better steward of the lands that the folks have been there before us. Our managed training activities within the lands that we own are actually better for the land than some of the other uses that you might see around here. Urban growth, agricultural, some activities as far as recreational activities may tear up, may destroy threatened and endangered species more than we would do, because we have a commitment to protect this land because we want to use it. And we know if we don't protect it, it won't be there available for us to use.
Perhaps the most spectacular example of the military's impact in Hawaii took place on the sacred island of Kaho'olawe. The day after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor in 1941, the U.S. seized the island for target practice. It was bombed for 50 years.
Every type of munition, bomb, grenade, bullet that could be fired was really fired on Kaho'olawe. The bombs would actually shake Maui. And to somehow believe that that doesn't have an impact on the environment is really not just foolishness, but I would say is a direct lie. Wherever they have stepped foot on these islands, it has produced destruction upon this land at the same sense, but destruction upon our people.
Coming up on Inside USA, more voices from the struggle for native sovereignty in Hawaii.